When Canelo Alvarez exploded onto the boxing scene, the dynamo from Guadalajara, Mexico was rarely ever the student in the ring. In fact, for the first 43 of 23-year-old Alvarez bouts, he would often take seasoned grown men to school. Alvarez would roll undefeated, with an impressive 42-win, 1-draw boxing record. And as his meteoric rise was hurling towards his collision course with the likely boxing world pound-for-pound greatest boxer ever, Alvarez acquired dominant wins against light middleweight contenders Kermit Cintrone, Sugar Shane Mosley, Josecito Lopez, and Austin Trout. The explosive and aggressive Alvarez at 23 years old looked absolutely the part in his terrifying rise atop the boxing world. In boxing lore, there is a prophecy in which a young champion would take the mantle from the seasoned legend. But when Alvarez entered the depths of the school of boxing, he came face to face with Floyd Mayweather Jr., the best ever. Mayweather, at 36 years of age, taught Canelo Alvarez a brutal lesson in the sweet science. Alvarez, although looking like an unstoppable force, was placed firmly in the student's desk, with Professor Mayweather taking the 23-year-old through 12 rounds of pure technical ability, unrivaled in modern boxing. Mayweather, the speed, precision, ring IQ, and feared perpetual unrelenting determination, crafted perhaps boxing's most beautiful resume. Floyd cut through most of the welterweight division for years, essentially looking unbeatable in every single matchup. Floyd started off as a power puncher, being able to swiftly put opponents to sleep. As the career went on, Pretty Boy Floyd turned to Money Mayweather, a boxer that operated out of a defensive stance, and would take great pride in slicing through opponents' weaknesses, while taking control of each and every collision. In 2013, still very much in his everlasting prime years, Floyd took on the much heavier Canelo in Las Vegas, Nevada. Mayweather entered the fight from the front, likely to put Canelo's cool to the test. Canelo kept his composure and carried himself like a pro. Up until this time, Alvarez had been using a wise tactical approach. He managed to slip and escape the majority of Mayweather's counters, while cautiously approaching the body of the boxer. With only around 10 seconds left in the round, Canelo successfully connected with a lead hook. Nobody had yet established control of this battle after 3 rounds. In addition to slipping a few straight rights, Floyd Mayweather was landing his jabs routinely. Mayweather's toughest match in years was already taking shape. He didn't seem particularly alarmed, but he did appear to be aware of the danger. Although Alvarez didn't seem to mind Mayweather's blows, he was taking a lot of them and was losing enough rounds that he might have needed to alter his approach. Mayweather was starting to create distance between him and Alvarez. He was starting to outperform him by increasing margins. Alvarez was putting on a good show, but when Floyd Mayweather's superiority became clear, the fight began to drift away from him. Even on the 2 occasions when Alvarez had Mayweather pinned to the ropes, Mayweather brilliantly countered Alvarez by rolling his shoulder. Alvarez gave a tough performance, but he was being slowly cooked by Floyd. Canelo kept up his courageous, gritty performance to the very end, but Mayweather's consistent, precise striking was wearing him down. Canelo was starting to appear irritated. Canelo Alvarez was unable to summon the ferocity necessary to go all out in the final round because he appeared to be far behind on the odds.
Mayweather punch-shotting Canelo with the jab all night. Back in that round, using the shoulder roll to prevent him from landing the right hand and then counter.
If he thought hitting Floyd Mayweather was difficult before, it's going to be way more Alvarez fits.
As the fight came to a close, Mayweather was on cruise control to a gritty yet clinical victory over the young challenger. The fight was seen as the catalyst in Canelo's career. Post-loss to the legend Mayweather, Canelo has since gone on to the boxing world pinnacle, atop the pound-for-pound rankings as one of the feared fighters. Canelo post-Floyd became a more precise powerhouse, technical ability through the roof, power unrelenting, excellent defensive skills, better contact coupled with a fearlessness lacking in modern boxing. Alvarez has since faced and taken apart some of the boxing world's most brutal contenders in the middleweight divisions, with a recent matchup against light heavyweight Dimitri Bivol. Canelo is one of the most fearless and most feared fighters. A student of the sport of boxing, a lesson well learned in 2013 after his doctorate teaching session with the professor Floyd Mayweather Jr.